G'day guys, welcome back to an Aussie Buckets on-site installation video. So today we're going to be installing this rock breaker here on this 1.8 ton mini digger. So this rock breaker is our 150 model. That's going to be our smallest on range. Now this video will be applicable for our entire range, so all the way up to our big 30, 40 ton rock breakers. So let's get straight into it and take a look at our rock breaker here. Alrighty guys, let's just run through a few of the tools and materials we're going to need to complete this install. So Aussie Buckets is going to supply a nitrogen canister. This one's going to be empty, but your breaker will come pre-charged, so ready to go out of the box. We're also going to have a toolbox here with a manual, a few different bits and bobs, along with our 2 chisels and our hoses and couplers to suit our machine. The only thing that you guys are going to need to source is the grease just for ongoing maintenance. Alright guys, so we're going to take our rubbers off here. Now these rubbers are going to be in there real nice and tight. Once you get them off, they're going to allow us to get access here, inside there, if you can see, into our hydraulic port. So this is where our hoses are going to connect and then run up to the machine. We're just going to feed our hoses through the rubbers, and then if you see down there, it's just going to hook up to your line there. So pretty simple install. Flick her in, tighten her up, and away you go. Once you've done that, you can then hook up your hydraulics. Now make sure there's a bit of a dirty rag, but make sure you get a clean rag and we clean our connections there and make sure there's no dirt or things. We don't want any dirt getting into the pump for the machine, okay? Alrighty guys, at this stage we're going to get our rock breaker. We're going to get an operator here to bring it up to about, yay height. This is just so we can get the top access point and the bottom access point of our retaining pin there that holds our chisel in place. Now that we've got our rock breaker up in the air, nice height, we're going to remove 4 rubbers here. So we're going to take off our top access point rubber here and our side access one. Now there's going to be another side one on my side here, and there's also going to be another access point at the top, but actually on the bottom here as well. So just 2 on there and 2 here. Once you've removed your rubber covers from your breaker here, we're going to move on to our split pin. So split pin here, holding our retaining pin, which then holds our chisel in the breaker. Now on this model, you're going to have the single retaining pin. On your bigger ones, you're going to have that dual retaining pin set up. Now, tools for this one, you're going to need a hammer, and then you're going to get this special tool here, which is going to come in the kit, allowing us to punch out that split pin. Alrighty guys, so you're going to grab your tool here. We're going to feed it, I'm going to do it on this side, but you're going to feed it through that hole into that split pin and then push that split pin out. So through and give it a whack. When it comes to installing our chisel, we're going to need to grease it. Now, a few important takes to take from that is we do not want to put grease up here. So anywhere near that striking bit of the chisel there, no grease. So anything down, we're going to grease all in here, and then obviously you're going to have your chisel coming out the end anyway. So make sure all of this is well greased before installing into the breaker. So we're going to get our chisel paste, our chisel grease, and we're going to start at about the halfway mark, because obviously you're going to have half sticking out, and we just want to lather that on. So nice big strokes, get it really nice and greased up, never have too much grease. Make sure you grease it real good. Probably need a bit more, to be honest. So while you're greasing, remember we're not greasing up top there. Alright guys, now we're going to install our chisel. So once it's all greased up, we can then put it inside our breaker. When we're putting our chisel in, we're just going to slide it in all the way, and then we're going to rotate the chisel until, so at the moment we don't see it, there we go. So then that retaining pin can slide down there and we can put the split pin through. So now we are going to put our retaining pin in. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. If you're by yourself, easy enough, we're going to insert our bottom rubber into its spot, and then we're going to drop the pin in, and it should sit exactly where this split pin is going to go through. Now I've got an operator that's going to give me a hand, so what they're going to do, they're basically just going to hold the pin in. I'm now going to grab my split pin here, and I'm going to feed it through this hole like you can see here, and I'm just going to chuck that split pin back through here. So you're going to line it up, give it a nice hammer. There you go, it's seated, and now I'm going to push that all the way through. Alrighty guys, so when you get to the last bit, obviously I can't hammer the pin any further. I've got the body of the breaker, so you just want to grab your tool again, line it up as such, and then just whack away. So when we are done, we're going to have our split pin here is going to be flush with the body there. So on the single retaining pin, we want to make sure that we hammer the split pin in on the side of our retaining pin, okay? And then when it's flush, we're all sweet. So at this stage, we're going to tidy up our work area. We're going to place all these rubber covers back on, and we're going to get to braking. Now, a few things to go over before we start use. Your machine needs to be in one-way flow for the hydraulic lines. So if you don't know how to do that, speak to your OEM, but it should be as simple as either a switch inside the cab there, or sometimes you'll have one out the front of the cab as well. Now, another consideration when operating our rock breakers, it needs to be loaded up at all times, so no blank firing. Make sure that the machine's weight is on the end of the chisel there, so pushing down, and as soon as that rock breaks up, make sure we just cease operation, stop punching it, blank firing it. Another consideration to take into play, this is not a pry bar. So we don't want to be prying rock up with the chisel itself, we just want to be breaking it. If we pry it up, it could damage the internals of the rock breaker. Now, if you need any technical support, feel free to get in touch with us on 03 9917 8598 and hit the option for service and support, and our team of technicians are more than happy to help.